There are basically just two things in IVF: things you can control and things you can't control. I know people love making IVF out to be very complex and abstruse and talk about eggs and sperms and embryos and cleavage rates and incubators and growth factors and implantation and all kinds of things. And all the jargon is very impressive. But honestly, at the end of the day, it's really very simple. What are we doing in an IVF cycle? We are trying to do in the IVF lab what's not happening in your bedroom, plain and simple, which means the test tube is actually functioning as an artificial fallopian tube, so that we're taking out your eggs, adding the sperm, making an embryo, putting it back in the uterus and hoping that it implants. Rather than complexify stuff, let's simplify it. And basically it boils down to what can you control and what you can't control. Now, you can't control some biological variables. For example, if you're 39 years old, there's a very high probability that you have poor ovarian reserve, you're going to have poor ovarian response, your egg quality is not going to be great, and unfortunately, you can't make yourself any younger, and that's stuff you're going to have to deal with. Now, that doesn't mean that you write yourself off just because you're 39. There is always a solution for every problem, and not every 39-year-old necessarily has poor egg quality. So therefore, you run the tests, you put yourself on supplements, you tweak the IVF protocol. But the important thing is to understand that some of this stuff is not in your control. You can optimize things, but you can't predict what the outcome is going to be. But the good news is the process is in your control. But you'll only know that if you understand what's involved in the process, and that's why you need to do your homework and understand what the IVF doctor is trying to accomplish for you. So there are other things which aren't in your control. For example, if your husband has a low sperm count, then so be it. The good news is the IVF clinic has a solution for that. They can do ICSI. Now, you can't control how well the embryologist does the ICSI, unfortunately. But the embryologist can control how well he does the ICSI. The IVF clinician can control how well they do their superovulation, which treatment protocol they can use for you. Unfortunately, that all happens in a black box. So you don't even know whether your IVF clinician or your embryologist are talking to each other, whether they're following the right process, whether they're optimizing things specifically for you, or whether they're just using a generic protocol which they use for every patient who comes to them because they're way too busy and they've got hundreds of patients and 50 different assistants and no one knows what's happening and everyone is completely clueless. And you can't afford to depend on someone else because ultimately it's your treatment and it's your baby. And the more the active interest you take in your treatment, the better for you. Some IVF clinics will actually discourage you from asking questions. They'll say things like, who's the doctor here? Just because you went to Dr. Google doesn't mean you know everything. Just leave everything in my capable hands. I've been doing this for 25 years. I'm the expert. It's all too complicated. You're not going to understand any of it. Good IVF doctors, on the other hand, will take pride in educating their patients so they understand what's in their control, what's in the doctor's control, and finally what's in no one's control. And this is important. Lots of things are in the doctor's control, may not be yours. So for example, to provide high quality medical care, to make sure the protocol for superovulation is customized and tailored to your needs, to make sure that you're being superovulated properly, to make sure that you're being monitored properly, to make sure that the embryologist is highly skilled and highly experienced and highly expert and can do exactly what's right for you. These are things which are in the clinic's control. The problem is you don't know whether the clinic is doing a good job or a bad job. You need to take a leap of faith, but be careful about when you take this leap of faith and who you decide to take this leap of faith on. Trust is a difficult thing. You can't give it away for free. The doctor needs to earn your trust, and the only way you can do that is by being transparent, open, and being willing to share information. And that's one thing we're extremely good at, and we've been doing it for many years. Our website at www.drmalpani.com has over 1,000 pages of information written just for patients, only about IVF. This is all authentic, reliable information because I have authored it myself, so I can vouch for it. We encourage all patients, even the ones who don't come to us for treatment, to read the website. We encourage them to ask me for a second opinion. That's free, no strings attached. So why do I provide a free second opinion? Because I believe that the job of a doctor is to teach patients. Actually, the word doctor is derived from the word dossier, to teach, and I'm happy to do that. It doesn't cost me anything at all. You're very unlikely to ask me a question someone else hasn't asked me before. I've been doing this for 30 years. And sending an email doesn't take much time, and it's free, and I'm happy to clear your doubts. And if at the end of the day you decide to come to us, I can promise you we'll provide you with high quality care. But even if you decide not to come to us, but if as a result of my advice you can make sure that you find the right IVF doctor, that you get the best possible medical care because of the questions you asked, your doctor followed the right process and shared information with you and was open and transparent thanks to the information you got from our website, as a result of which you got your IVF baby, I'll be the happiest person alive. Because don't forget, that's the reason why I became a doctor. So, even if I can help you to have a baby in real life when you come to us, or even digitally, virtually, online, by providing you with advice, they both will give me that same sense of gratification and happiness. And we look forward to helping you to have a baby.